Hello everyone, welcome to CryptoPi. In today's video, I want to talk about one of the Bitcoin indicators which I came across recently, and it has become one of my favorite indicators to identify what would be happening during the phase when Bitcoin goes really parabolic and reaches to its cycle top, and what we could do when the bear market begins, and what would indicate that Bitcoin has bottomed and it is time to accumulate for the next bull season, bull market. All right, then let's go to the Bitcoin chart. As all of you might be aware of it, it's the Bitcoin chart. What I've selected here is the index. So Bitcoin and USDT pair with the index exchange. So it's not an exchange. And this one I have selected to log. Usually you would see charts which are something like this, but if you select here logarithmic, then the prices are adjusted so that you see the whole picture at once. The indicator which I'm talking about is when you go to indicators here in TradingView and go to community, and if you type Bitcoin rainbow wave, so this one, I have already selected the indicator. So, and what pops up is it shows some form of wave which is already fitted to your price action, and there are numerous settings which you can adjust to find out where the top would be or where the bottom would be, though it's quite easy to understand directly from what the settings are. Some of the settings I have already set for myself, so I will remove this one and switch on switch on the indicator where I have set up all the settings. So here you see from the first section I only have show minor lines. From the second section I have show wave line, show wave bands, minus profitability for floor, then showing halvings and type Fibonacci vertical lines, and show no miss zones. All right, so I want to first start with the first part. So this halving, the first halving was pretty much after the Bitcoin was created, and I usually ignore this first cycle in my analysis because it was still very new. What I start looking for my analysis and understanding of Bitcoin structure and market is after this particular halving line. If I switch on the Bitcoin halving indicators, you see that it gets aligned with this blue aqua lines. So all of this are the halving lines. It can go slightly plus minus 1 or 2 days, but that is always the case with halvings because it depends upon the difficulty of mining the Bitcoin. So let's hide this one. All right, so what are the features here? First one I would go from here is the show no miss zones. If I disable it, you see these zones will disappear over here. And if I enable them, we will see those zones pop up again, the yellow, red, and green ones. What these zones basically tell us is the yellow ones tell us when Bitcoin has started going parabolic, or when it would begin. So when the price crosses over here, the yellow zone begins, and that's when Bitcoin's price starts going parabolic. And we have seen this almost in every cycle. So this indicator has detected previous parabolic runs quite well. Same goes for when the price reaches to the red zone. That's when Bitcoin is nearing, or it's already in its current cycle top. And for these two cycles, it looks quite well. In the last cycle, price did reach over the red zone, so it did stay there for a while, but it was not the top. The top happened a few months later. And in this cycle, we are far below the red zone. So let's see where the top happens. So if it reaches the red zone, let's say over here, then the price estimate is 187,000 approximately. And if we go further, let's say it hits after a while, it's still 166,000. Let's see how well this indicator is able to perform for this cycle. What I want to bring forward in this video is, apart from this red zones for identifying the cycle tops, this vertical H lines, the red H lines, they have identified when the bear market begins. It is not for the cycle top, although it happens very close to the cycle top. This price reaches to cycle top, and then after a few weeks, the price crosses the H line, and whenever it has crossed the H line, basically the bear market has begun. In 2014, price crossed, and we had quite a long bear market. In 2017, the same thing happened. Then 2021, and we are nearing for this cycle to the H line, and we have still not reached the red zone. It is possible that the price might go something like this way and hit over here, and then price might start its bear market. We will see, but this gives a nice, let's say, a nice guideline that this is one possibility out of so many other possibilities which could happen. One thing about the H line for this particular cycle, so that was the last cycle in 2021, price did reach the red zone, so it was very close to its cycle top. We saw some pullback, and then price went back again to the red zone. And then when the price had crossed the H line, we saw the bear market. If some of you are already here from the last cycle, when the price reached here, most of the analysts were predicting that Bitcoin price will go from 67, 68,000 to 120,000, 150,000. It could have if the H line was a bit far away, but apparently these H lines are directly related to the halving of Bitcoin, and depending upon the halving, the whole Bitcoin cycle, these Bitcoin waves are created. And to me, it seems like it's a very good approximation of identifying the tops, or let's say the region where the top could occur, the cycle top could occur, and region where the cycle bottom could occur. So for H line, it is when the bear market starts, and on the other side, we have the green lines, green vertical lines, where it identifies that now is the right time to start accumulating, and the next bull run for Bitcoin will start anytime soon. In this case, it did hit the green line, and then we see that bottom was already in. Over here, it was very close. So the green zone, the bottom was at the green zone, very end of this green zone, but it still was there. And over here, the bottom was not at the green zone. The H line said that, all right, we have, let's say, finished our bear market, and then accumulation period begins, and the bottom did go slightly below for this particular cycle, though it was still within the green zone. So what I mean by green zone is not exactly this particular area, but the time range where the green zone begins and when the green zone ends. I think for this particular cycle, it is quite tricky given that we are getting very close to it. Let's see how far the red line is for us. From today, it is 9 bars, and we are on a weekly time frame. The red line is supposed to be crossed or reached on 27th October. We are talking today on 25th August, so it's September, October, so around 2 months, bit more than 2 months. And it is quite exciting to see how crazy price might move. And it's nothing new for Bitcoin to go from here till another 60% in 2 months. This has happened before. Over here, if we want to see, price went from, let's say, over here up until this zone, 142% after it left its parabolic phase. So it went to 142% in a very short span of time. So December till April, so that was 4 months. And I'm looking at the maximum, but if I look from here, December 28th until this one, so that's February. That's just 2 weeks, or 8 weeks, so approximately 2 months. And if you look at some patterns, and in previous years, this kind of rallies were even larger. So assuming that this kind of rally does happen in the coming months, it would be somewhere, let's say from here, let's say the bottom of the zone, it's 60%, 64%. So it's not a lot for Bitcoin's price to reach. But yeah, I think this because of this vertical lines where it defines when the bear market begins, and the green lines when the bull market begins, this has become one of the favorite Bitcoin indicators, which I'm definitely going to follow for this cycle and also for the future cycles. If you like this content, then do hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate some support, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.